Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Alumni Diaries, Beyond Boundaries, presented to you by the IEEE student branch of GEC Thrissur. This is your host with voices we proudly toast, Abhinav, and in this episode, we have Mr. Navaneet M, a distinguished GECT alumnus with remarkable experiences, valuable insights, and an inspiring journey to share with us today. As usual, before we dive in, we've got a little surprise just for you. That's right, there's a question coming your way at the end of the conversation. So stay tuned, sit back, and enjoy the show. Alright, now it's time for my favorite segment. Now, just before Navaneet joins us, here's a little preview of what makes him worth hearing. A proud BTech Electrical and Electronics graduate from the class of 2023, he served as the IEEE Power and Energy Society Chair and Asia Pacific SBC Coordinator, playing a key role in shaping the student tech community. He has even represented GECT at the prestigious R10 Power and Energy Society student chapter training held at Marina Bay Sands, Singapore. Fast forward to today, he is working full time as a test and integration engineer at Ather Energy, helping build the future of clean mobility. Welcome to Alumni Diaries, Navaneet. How does it feel to be on the show?
I love extremely thank you. First of all, I extend my gratitude towards all of you organizers for the great initiative to bridge the gap between the alumni and the students. It's indeed a great initiative, and I'm indeed very happy to be back with you guys, though my juniors. It's my privilege to be considered among the best alumni. Or not, I don't want to brag, but still, the thing is considered among the alumni of GC Thrissur itself is a great tag. Thank you.
We are also happy to have you on this show, Navaneet. So, for starters, let's begin with your college journey. Take us through your early days at GECT Thrissur.
Yeah, so joining GC Thrissur was one of the biggest things that had ever happened to me from the very first introductory program till the last day of farewell. It was all a great journey, being though it was a little bit interrupted by the corona leaves and corona holidays, and we shifted to the online. Though the physical distance was much higher between the people and the teachers, it never affected our emotional or friendship. And then again, traveling through, I got great chances to volunteer with the premier organizations like IEEE, to be part of the college basketball team, to contribute to my department through projects, organize resonance, all this. Like resonance, of course, comes first because it was my first event in college, and like initial days, of course, it was like golden days in my life, definitely.
Good to hear that. Now, what does a typical day as a test and integration engineer at Ather look like? I believe the audience will be curious to know about this.
Yeah, so basically, I started off my profile as a hardware design engineer at another company, and then I shifted to a test engineer. So, how I look at a test engineer, like, how I live my life as a test engineer in my office is like you have to switch your personality or like your thought process between two domains or like two characters. First one is at first as an engineer or design engineer, and then you have to think like a customer itself. So basically, how we do is we design, we plan, and we till the execution part. Just before the execution part, we behave like or like we think like engineers. We design things. We or like we derive things like an engineer. How to do the test. What are conditions exist. All the same. And while we do the test, we do it like a customer. For example, if you have some issue coming up, you think like an engineer how to simulate that issue, what are the possible outcomes of the issue, all these things. And then you do it like a customer. For example, if the product reaches the customer, how they're going to use it, how they might confront the situation, and the analysis is again coming back to an engineer role. You do the analysis on all the technical aspects, and then you yield the result. That's how you do, like you live your life as a test and integration engineer.
Okay. Now, as I went through your LinkedIn profile, like one of the most highlighting part in your college journey was your training in Singapore. So I'd like to ask a question on that itself. Like, how did your experience in Singapore reshape the way you think personally as well as professionally? How did it have an impact on yourself?
So until the Singapore event, event itself was a big luck in my life because I applied. I never thought I would qualify for that because there was a lot of competition. Unfortunately, I was counted in as one of the volunteers who got selected. It was actually a training. The best thing is that in that meeting, what I realized in that was my first international meeting, and what I realized is that there are two roles that you can do as a volunteer. One, you can be a participant. The other one, you can be an organizer. So in that meeting, I realized that the shifting from a participant to an organizer is what you need to be a good volunteer. So from that day onwards, I decided that whenever I attend any event, be it international, be it statewide, be it nationwide, any event, I will try my best to be one of the best participants who have actively contributed to the success, and then I will try to implement or like I'll try to organize the same event for my gang of people, for my college, and for my SBC. So that was something that I always looked up to. Whenever I see a good event, whenever I see the possibilities of a great outcome from an event, what I would possibly look forward is how to organize this in my college. And of course, I cannot leave without mentioning the extremely great network that I've got from them, like all across the Asia Pacific region, like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Singapore, Sri Lanka, China, and Australia. So all those countries we have had great interactive sessions. See, imagine you get a chance to interact with a lot of people coming to know about them, how the technology works there, how volunteering works there, getting to interact with them. It was indeed a great opportunity. And of course, the biggest shift in my perspective is that I want to change from a volunteering perspective to an organizer's perspective. That was the biggest takeaway for me from that meeting.
So, would you agree with the fact that it was just that moment in your life that actually brought a perspective towards your life, that it had a huge impact on your career?
Indeed, it had a huge impact in my career because from that meeting, I got a lot of people, a bigger network, a vast network that spread across the continent. Whom still I contact. I mean, I do have contact with a few of them still who are still contributing to the team. I'm still a part of the team. They still help me a lot in shaping my career, choosing good decisions, and in organizing good events. Still.
Okay. That's actually leads perfectly into what I wanted to ask next, and that is, what is that one piece of advice that you would give to individuals saying that's not for me? In the sense, like those who are very much hesitant to explore the real things out there.
So basically, when you say that is not meant for me, first you have to think, is it something that you are really interested in? If you're really interested in that, and then you think that it's not meant for me, because you might face some challenges, because you might face some issues, or because you might face some scarcity in resources, never ever think like that. Because there is nothing, there is absolutely nothing in this world where you can accumulate all the resources, you can figure out all the challenges, you can find a solution to all the problems and then do it. There is nothing like that actually works. You have to take your first step. Of course, the baby steps matter a lot. You have to take the step. Then you have to have the courage to face it. Nothing comes free of cost. You have to face a few challenges. You have to take in a lot of pressure. But see, the thing is, whenever you feel like it's not meant for me, the only thing you have to think is, does it worth to invest your effort in that? if it is something that you are interested in, if it is something that would give you a better result, if you would reshape the thought, if it would reshape your thought process in a better way, definitely you should give a try. And if it is not something that interests you, okay, let it go. Because I won't ask you to put in your efforts into something that is not interesting to you. But definitely you can give a taste. Like you can check your taste. You can just give a hand to that. You can just try out if it really interests you or not. If it is not interesting, then leave it. But if it is interesting, I assure you that things will definitely align in its way if you take your baby steps properly. If you take your first steps properly, if you have a vision, if you have enough persistence and willpower, I can definitely assure you that you might face a lot of challenges. You might run into problems. You might stand confused. You might want to give up a lot many times. But I can assure you that once you come ahead of all these things, once you tide over all of these things, once you solve over all these challenges, when you look back, it's going to give you a lot many different experiences, something that would really change you in and out. Once you have to try something out of your comfort zone, you have to break the shell and come out, do some risky things, and then from next time onwards, you'll never think that is it meant for me? Do I have to do that? It's only a one-time thought.
And that's few powerful statements which are coming from you. So glad to hear that, and I completely agree with what you've said. And I believe our beloved audience will completely resonate with what you've said. Moving on, like we have got a few questions from our beloved audience, and from that we have picked one question which we feel like is relevant in this era, and that's, what skills do you think are absolutely essential for young engineers who want to enter the EV or the clean tech space? What is your point on that?
I would say you need two things. Two things in the broader category. One is technical skills, one is a good network. Because if you want to enter an EV industry, you have a lot many options. You can be, broadly speaking, you can be in the engineering level, you can be a system engineer who designs how a thing should be, like what all needs to be the spec, what all need to be included in a product. Next, you can be a design engineer who designs what the system engineer gives him. Then you can be a test engineer who takes this product to the extreme conditions, designs and implements a lot of critical test cases on it, and then yield the result before it goes to the customer. You have three options. Again, in this, you have multiple domains. For example, you can be in the battery management system, you can be in the power electronic drive system, you can be in the communication system. And you might, when you just say EV industry and you say, I want to I want to join an EV industry, and you try to join, you might run into a lot of confusions. So this is where the most important part, networking, comes in. You can run to people, you can run up to people and just ask them what suits you. Or like you can take inputs from people in different domains and then compare or like just check what aligns with your interest. There comes the first thing, your interest. You should have a vision. Like in EV industry, you should not like just blindly throw stones at a tree. You have to be very specific where you want to target. Then after that, you come to your technical skills. So when I started off, I had nothing in my resume. And then I decided I'll just edit my resume every 2 days. Once in every 2 days. So in 48 hours, adding one word in a resume is not a big deal. It's very easy. I did that for 2 months and I edited my resume 30 times. And if you ask me to point out a few relevant skills in the EV industry, I would say basics. Basic circuit knowledge is very much essential. Basic circuit knowledge includes the basic analog electronics, basic digital electronics. I'm not asking you to go for like heavy circuits that might storm your brain in and out, not like that. You should be very familiar with the working of the basics. You should know the difference between the theory and the practical. What is the difference between ideal and practical cases? All these things matter a lot because in interviews they're not going to ask you what you learned in theory. It's mostly going to be just stuff that are out there in the real world. Be familiar with the basics, have basic and good language, not like very proficient something, but you need to be presentable with your language. Then you need to have an idea about what your aim is, what you are going to contribute to, which is your avenue domain. And technically, of course, you need to know a little bit of circuit design, a little bit of analog and digital electronics, a little bit knowledge about how the components work in the practical domain. I again stress on that practical domain. Don't go for the ideal case scenarios. Build some projects that will definitely help you out there. Yeah, those would sum up to be the most, like, I think that would be the shortest answer I would give to that.
Okay, so I'd like to summarize this for our audience. First thing, focus on your basics, have an interest, networking is essential, and don't go for big concepts, always clear the ground concepts. And yeah, few things like that. And I hope this will definitely help the crowd to reach wherever they want, especially the EV sector. Now it's time for my favorite segment, and that is the rapid fire round. There's just quick questions and instant answers. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay. The rapid fire round. Quick questions, instant answers. Are you ready, Mr. Navani?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay, here we go then. Movies on Netflix.
Movies, of course.
Okay. First celebrity crush.
That would be a confusing question, but I would say the Malayalam actress Amala from the movie Enda Suryaputrike.
Okay. If not engineering, then what?
Probably I would choose something related to cooking, maybe chef or a photographer. Or teacher, of course, teacher.
Okay, that
Teaching is,
is
of course, my everything.
okay, interesting. If your life at GECT was a movie, what would be the title be?
I think I would love to call it Three Idiots because of the friendships I have got, but I would rather call it Classmates.
Oh, I really love the way you put that. That was really good. Planner or the go one with the float type? Which one will you choose?
Definitely go on with the flow because I don't plan much things. When you plan, sometimes things might go wrong, but when it's go with the flow, it's all a surprise.
What is your hidden talent?
My hidden talent is I can talk and work for how much or long I want. I can talk non-stop, I can work non-stop. Like,
Okay, multitasking stuff. Nice. What was your last impulse buy?
my last impulse buy was actually a keychain. So the keychain which I found it like very interesting, but that was absolutely of no use to me. But then I loved it very much. It was a small circuit design, I mean circuit symbol based, but I loved it.
Okay. Now, this is one thing that I would also want the crowd to listen. That is, what is the best advice that you have received and which you will share to everyone else as well?
The best advice that I have received, if I count back to my JC days, that would of course be my best time. I had an interaction with 𝗕𝗃𝗵𝗶𝗲𝗀. So what he said is, keep exploring. Be it good things out there which is very obvious, or sometimes certain things that might not seem like a good thing. But that good thing or might not, when you define something as good or bad, it should be based on your perspective. If you go and ask someone, is it good or bad? And they say it's good, you try it out, you might not like it. They say it's bad, and you leave it, but actually it would have been a great opportunity for you. So perspective really varies. There is no general equation that can define interest or people. So don't take others' inputs completely to define your perspective. You should try out things and then have a perspective of your own. Because otherwise you might miss out a lot many things that might be of great interest to you just because someone else demotivated to try that.
And with that, we are winding up the rapid fire segment. Now, this question goes to the listeners as promised. Here goes the question. I am not a bench, but people sit. With bags and books, they chat and knit. From fests to finals, I've seen it all. Echoes of GECT in every call. Who am I? Well, this is your cue to DM us the answer on the official Instagram page at the rate IEEE SB GECT. We've got a plenty of surprise questions waiting for you in the upcoming episodes, so stay tuned. That brings us to the end of this incredible conversation with Navneet. From IEEE leadership to international exposure and now driving innovation in the EV space. His story is a testament to what's possible when you lead with intention and step beyond boundaries. Thank you, Navneet, for being on the show. And to all our listeners, we hope this episode left you inspired, a little more curious, and ready to explore your own path. This is your host Abhinav signing off. Until then, stay curious, stay driven, and we'll meet you in the next episode of the Alumni Diaries. Bye.